Okay, so Boruto episode 3 preview. Now, I'm not gonna lie, in case you can't see the little smile, I'm excited for this one, probably more so than I've been ever since the first one, even though we only had like 2 episodes, obviously. But like, the second one, I was like, okay, we're gonna see this Iwabe guy, whatever. Even the first one, I was like, after we had the Kawaki stuff, I was like, okay, we're getting introduced to this world or whatever. So it was kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. But if you've seen my spoiler video, which by the way, check it out, talks about the upcoming 5 to 6 episodes of Boruto. So I was like, yo, we're getting some Metal Lee. Finally, one of the characters that didn't really have spotlight in the Boruto Naruto the movie and a lot of different things, which by the way, I don't know why I didn't catch this, or it just didn't really click to me all this time. And I've seen the Boruto Naruto the movie like a gajillion times now, and I read the manga and all that shit, but it never really dawned on me that in the Boruto Naruto the movie stuff, which if you haven't seen that stuff, I guess spoiler alert, but Metal Lee takes a L against somebody from the Sand Village, which I believe that's either, I forget if that's Gaara's nephew or Gaara's son. I was kind of like the irony, because in the Chunin exams, obviously, it was Rock Lee versus Gaara, and then Metal Lee took the L again. So it was kind of like history repeating itself in a way with the children this time around, right? So, that was something that I didn't catch. But based on what we got in the preview and what we got in the spoilers is going to be focusing in on Metal Lee and kind of understanding his character a bit, because these Academy episodes is doing a pretty damn good job at development and setting up these characters so that we can give a shit about them. Because when we saw Boruto Naruto the movie and we got the manga and all that stuff, it was kind of like, okay, aside from Boruto and Sarada and the characters that are already established, like Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and shit like that, don't really give a fuck about majority of these new kids because we don't know them through a hole in the wall. It's like, who the fuck is this? Oh, Shikadai, little Shikamaru clone. So we was kind of like, who cares? But these episodes are really giving into their character, getting more setup and build up, characterization, and based on episode 3's preview, we're getting more characterization on Metal Lee. Now, a couple of scenes in the preview that we saw. For starters, they're really showcasing very heavily that purple-haired girl that I believe she's the class representative or the class president, something along the lines of that. And it's looking, and I'm seeing the fandom, what they're saying, and how they're feeling about that character. They are looking at it as she's the potential Hinata to Sarada's Sakura to Boruto's Naruto, which that could happen. I could see it. I don't think that she's going to be a key player simply because she seems like alongside Denki and Iwabe that she's kind of like an anime only character, because she hasn't, to my knowledge anyway, been introduced in the manga. Maybe I'm mistaken, because I did, just skim through a lot of those Boruto Naruto the movie chapters. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna front. So I don't necessarily really remember her. Although again, maybe I'm just, misremembering or whatever. But besides that point, we see Metal Lee and he's kind of like crying a little bit, but it doesn't look like a really tragic cry. It looks more so like a, oh, this kid, he has to get through some shit or whatever, not a big deal type of scene, even though it did look really nice, and art and animation looks like it's going to be pretty good for this upcoming one as well. But we're seeing more into Metal Lee's character, and it's kind of interesting because looking at the lineage, and obviously my guy, to our knowledge, isn't Lee's father, he's just his sensei, and likewise when Might die, he's not related to them at all. But going down the line of these people, that they're kind of like, the same in a sense. Might die, he was a weakling, but ultimately when he opened up that 8th gate and kicked the fucking 7 swordsman's ass, he was awesome. My guy, amazing, love that character. Argue about what happened to him in the end of the war, but nevertheless, my guy, fucking awesome as well. Rock Lee, fan favorite, love him or whatever. So those are some big shoes to fill from Metal Lee. He has a generation of everybody prior to him. Again, like I said, my guy, my die aren't, related to him, but they still fall in line as far as those selection of, shinobi of, working hard and not really being good at ninjutsu and genjutsu, but kicking ass in taijutsu. He got big shoes to fill. He can't just come up in here and think like, he's going to be ordinary or he's going to be the same as Lee or Guy. He has to have something different. Now, based on what we know and what you hear in the preview as well, he seemingly is kind of like shy in a way, because he says towards the end of the episode, like, oh shit, Shikadai's watching, and he sounds like really nervous about it. So we're getting more into his character, but it also looks as though he's formidable because he's throwing the shuriken and he's hitting on point, and he's talking about how he was training in the woods to do this. So we're seeing that he's capable, but there's also a kind of like downside and quirk to him as well, opposed to Lee that couldn't do ninjutsu and genjutsu. We don't really know if that's the case for a Metal Lee, but we know that that was Lee's particular, quirk that was bad about him, or, the downside to him, or the crippling aspect to him being a shinobi. maybe Metal Lee can do ninjutsu and genjutsu. Might not be that good at it, but maybe he can. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of curious what you guys think about that. Do you think, I guess theory time right there real quick, that Metal Lee actually can, or it's just like a genetic thing, like, you know, his father couldn't do it and he can't do it either, which we still don't know to this day. Who's his mother? Everyone believes it's Tenten. I really hope that they clear that up, if not in this episode, at some point in the Boruto story, because it's like, it seems pretty obvious to me that it is Tenten. I know there was a scene, I think at the end of the Boruto Naruto the movie, where you had all the kids and they're standing with their parents and you see Lee and Tenten right behind Metal Lee, so there's a possibility there. To me, he has like Tenten's eyes and like kind of looks a little bit like Tenten's face, of course with Lee's clothing or whatever, but that's besides the point. Honestly, I'm kind of skeptical right now, and I'm really interested to see, and again, this is like as of right now, based on all the episode titles I know of and, you know, what we've seen thus far, this is probably the most exciting episode for me, because I'm a huge Rock Lee fan, and to see his son, Metal Lee, I'm like really interested, but I'm also skeptical in a sense of like, if he isn't awesome, if he doesn't embody the springtime of youth that Might Guy and Rock Lee embodied, it's gonna be a problem. We ain't gonna like this kid if he's not, you know, similar to them. But at the same time, we also don't want carbon copies, because, I mean, Shikadai, like I said in my previous review and a couple times now, he pretty much is a carbon copy of his father, maybe a little bit more understanding, because one thing that I noticed as a differentiation between the two characters was Shikamaru back in Naruto's early days wasn't really close when Naruto wasn't friends with him. Shikadai doesn't give a fuck. He's riding with Boruto. But in the preview, we also see that Shikadai is seemingly fighting or sparring or something. He's using ninjutsu on somebody. I'm kind of curious, are we going to see a little spar between Shikadai and Metal Lee? I would fuck with that very heavily. That would be awesome. See a little bit of Shikadai and Metal Lee. I don't really remember if we ever got to see any combat between Shikamaru and Rock Lee. So seeing Shikadai and Metal Lee go at it, I would fuck with that. But then again, in the preview, it's kind of hard to really tell if that'll happen or not, because Metal Lee seems to like Shikadai. Like, he's kind of like, ooh, he's watching me. So that means he has some sort of admiration for him. And it's kind of like, oh, he'll get embarrassed. So I'm kind of curious if that's actually going to go down. I mean, the preview, again, the fact that we know it's going to focus in on Metal Lee, we're going to get some characterization for him, which is all good and gravy. Again, if we are going to be embarking on this journey for however long it may be, whether it be a year or 5 years or 10 years, for however long we have this Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime, we do need to build on these characters so we can care. And I'm really hoping too, one big thing, when we're, you know, establishing these characters, which Naruto did it, but it did it like, you know, in spurts. Like, you get a couple of characters here, then we wait like, you know, 10 episodes to get introduced to another character, learn a little bit about them. This one is going straight forward. Hopefully that also is an indication that going forward into the series in the long run, we're not going to just forget about these characters, because let's be real, we know in Naruto we got a lot of cool shit with Rock Lee. Shippuden, he had like 3 or 4 really cool moments. Other than that, he was almost nowhere to be seen. Boruto, I'm really hoping that's not the case at all, because it's like, if we're going to focus in on this episode, Metal Lee, we're going to get more into him and kind of build his character. Let's keep that going. Let's keep that going into the distant future, when we're heading towards the Boruto versus Kawaki final endgame fight. Let's have some Metal Lee being involved and being relevant and having cool moments along the way as well. Honestly, though, preview, like I said before, I'm excited as fuck. Really curious what you guys think. For starters, I know we're probably talking this to death already, but who do you think is Lee's mom? Also, what do you think about seemingly him being a shy kid and embarrassed and kind of having this admiration for Shikadai? Do you think we're going to get a really cool fight between Metal Lee and Shikadai? Like, honestly, again, I would fucking love that. And also, did anyone, again, like, maybe I was just completely, like, blinded by everything else going on in the film, but what did you guys think, now that I think about it, regarding Metal Lee taking the L against Gaara's son or nephew or whatever the fuck he is, you know, Shinki, in the exams in the Boruto Naruto the movie stuff? It's kind of like, ooh, I mean, I guess it's a spoiler for if we do, you know, recap that stuff in the anime, but it's kind of like, I want to see Metal Lee do great things. And do you feel as though coming into this, knowing the lineage and where everything leads from, you know, Might Guy, Rock Lee, that he has big shoes to fill, and if he doesn't at least pique your interest, then we're gonna shit on him in a way? Because again, Rock Lee was amazing, Might Guy was amazing, Might Guy did some epic shit. you can't be a letdown, because we're gonna look at you and be like, yeah, you're the embarrassment in that line of Lee and, you know, the green jumpsuits. You'll be the laughing stock and the outcast of it all. Hey, overall predictions for the episode. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited. I don't know if I'll be doing constant, you know, preview breakdowns for every episode of Boruto, but this is what I wanted to talk about because they got some Lee in there and it's metal, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.